Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And before we get into it with our guests here today, well, first of all, we have multiple guests. We have Samantha on and her dog Achilles. I believe he was on the last podcast, so of course he has to make his appearance now. And so if you see anything kicking her to the side or anything like putting its legs up, that's just her dog Achilles. But yeah, Samantha's back on to share what she's been up to. It's almost a year to the day that we've last had her on. I think it was like October 12th or something like that we last had her. So a few weeks after that, but as you can tell, she's put on some size since we last had her on, so we're going to definitely talk about that and just talk about what she's been up to since then. But most importantly, Samantha, thank you so much for coming back on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Well, let's just get right into it. What have you been doing this last year? Because I've been looking at some of your Instagram reels and everything that you're posting, and like my jaw is still on the floor for some of them.
So the main difference that I've been doing is eating. I've been eating a lot and training a lot, of course, but working, training, and eating. That's my life, and trying to catch a nap every now and again.
Have you mixed up the training at all?
No, I've been doing the same thing that I've been doing for the last couple of years. Changed some types as far as like heavy lifting. I've kind of modified that a little bit, and of course, I've been trying to work hard on my weaknesses and things like that. Just trying to perfect them and make them better.
What's one area that you think you've improved on the most? As opposed to, like, obviously you've improved on everything, but what's one area that you're the most proud of improving?
I'm my glutes and my ham glute tie. Yeah.
And that's, oh, believe me, I've heard probably only about a handful of people say that that's easy, and that's just because there's those genetic freaks that I don't really enjoy to talk to, if I'm being completely honest, because they were blessed in ways that, it's just absolutely ridiculous. But what else has been going on this last year? What's life been like for you?
It's been something. Just lots of work because our world bodybuilding is not cheap, and so just making sure that I maintain and have a decent balance in life is tough for anybody. And then you throw in being an athlete and being trying to be as competitive and as good as I can. So balance of life is difficult at times.
Well, the only curveball I'm going to throw is because I saw this about a year ago, is that you were doing like a challenge against guys. It was like on a farm somewhere, and there was a video of that. How did that all come to be? Because I saw that on YouTube, and without even guessing, I was like, wait, is that Samantha? I was like, that looks familiar, because I didn't even know that you were doing any of that stuff. And I was like, oh wow. So one of the people, I was like, oh, I actually know her.
Yes, yes. So Will, he just reached out to one of my friends who's at the gym. Her name is Danny, and she's like, hey, would you be my partner with this? We're doing farmers versus bodybuilders. I was like, heck yeah, that's totally something I'd be into. And I was thinking that, it's going to be female versus female, things like that. And I get there and it's like some 16-year-old, male cats, and I was like, holy smokes, I feel a little set up for failure, because even though I'm tough and strong, it's hard competing against guys. It really is. So
you still put up a hell of a good fight if any of you guys watch the videos.
Yeah, I say I did okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, you absolutely did. And I recommend people to go and watch them. I'll leave the links, down below for that. But you also took a break from Instagram. How refreshing was that? Because believe me, I have wanted to do that for a long time, but I just can't with this.
Yeah, just after my last competition, I just wanted to decompress and just have some good family time. And so I made some time just to stay off social media completely. It was right at 3 months, and I just loved on my family, and just spent some time. It gets pulled away. You don't have as much time with your family when you're training, especially when it's in full prep. There's not as much time as you should, but they understand my passion and what I'm doing, and they're very supportive, and I appreciate that because we do need that as athletes. We really do.
Do you plan on doing that again after this season?
I'm not quite sure. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, honestly, if I could, I would definitely take that break just because, yeah, there's some times where you just feel so overwhelmed with anything. And how do you manage your stress? Because like you said, you have an intense job and then you also do bodybuilding and then you also have, family life as well. How do you manage stress and not just Because I would probably gain about 30 pounds myself just in stress weight.
I've been asked that question often lately, especially because, you know, as an athlete, we don't drink alcohol, we don't smoke, you know, and things like that. And they're like, what do you do to decompress or, you know, to de stress? And I was like, you know, I don't, I really, my stress reliever is what I do, is my passion as far as weightlifting and things like that. I never feel like, "Oh god, I gotta go to the gym," or, "Oh, I gotta go train." Like, I even, like, this past weekend, I had a 17-hour shift, and I was like, "You know what? I get to go home, and I do my short training." Like, I have a nighttime routine we talked about last time. It's 26 minutes now from things that I've kinda tweaked it over the years and with time, and I look forward to that. That is a time that I get to decompress, but it is a type of training, you know, that I do, specific core work, ham and glute work, stretching, posing every night. It's very relaxing to me, and to be able to have that time is crucial for me.
Do you think your posing's improved since last year?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, I was hoping she'd say that. I was just throwing it out there just in case we'd get the like, yeah, maybe. I don't know, but that's again one of the most important things, and it's overlooked by so many competitors. So if anyone's out there listening, make sure you get that posing done. But in case anyone hasn't heard the first episode, like in a brief summary, how do you get a workout in 26 minutes done?
Oh, well, that's just my nighttime routine, and I
Yeah.
don't really count training, or like a workout. That's just kind of my time, you know. It is a type of workout, have you? Because I'm doing calisthenics, I'm doing my core, I'm doing my glute work and things like that. But you know, it's it's all timed. It's my it's Achilles feet,
Again,
y'all.
everyone, Achilles, yeah, he's gonna be doing it. So just everyone, yeah, this is awesome though. I love it. I
He's
she
my dog. I wouldn't give anything for
Yeah,
him.
that is great. And again, I have a segment where it's just animals or pets on the podcast, so he's definitely gonna be in that. But I thought you were just saying that like, oh, I do like no rest between sets or something like that to get a workout done in 26 minutes, and I was like, God, you are a psychopath. But
Well,
I've heard people that have tried that, like, and I'm just like, okay, that's a God bless your body then, and then if you're able to walk that next day after that, but
the like in the mornings before work, I'll get up on like Monday through Friday. I get up at 4, do my fasted cardio, and then I go off to work. And then, you know, who knows how many hours I work, whether it's, you know, 8, 10, 12, 16, 17, 19 hours, and then get back home and at least do my nighttime routine, some type of lifting here that I have, in my gym here in the house. So,
that is dedication if I've ever heard the word, everyone, because how do you get up at 4 a.m. honestly? Like, how do you do that?
and then Saturdays it's 3, which is hard. That is hard. Yeah, that 1 hour difference. Oh my Josh, my way into it's hard.
What
But
time are you going to bed Friday night to get up at 3?
it's according if I work. So if I'm off work in time, I try to be in bed by 8:30 or 9. But that's not always feasible. Like if I get off of work at 8:30, so I got off at work at 8:30. I don't get home until almost 9:30. Nighttime routine's about 30 minutes. That's 10 p. And you're looking like trying to get yourself ready, prepared for bed. You're looking at 11. So you know maybe you get a quick nap in. You know 3 4 hours sleep. We're good. Rock it out the next day.
Are you just like addicted to 5 hour energies at this point, or how are you doing this?
I've just been doing like I sleep and we don't have the greatest of relationships. So unfortunately my body is kind of used to it, which I'm working on trying to get more sleep because it's important to our body and our overall health, especially long term with you know pushing my body the way I do. So I'm working on that as well.
If you have a long shift where you're walking a lot, do you sometimes count that as your cardio for the day?
No,
Okay.
never, never. That's just extra.
Even if you get like 30,000 steps in? Yeah.
No, because it's not a, like yeah no.
No, I get what you're saying, but still I'm over here like, good God, I couldn't imagine after those days that I was telling you about earlier of working where I'm like, yeah, let's go do some more cardio and get this done. So again, you guys, that's bodybuilding. That's a level of determination that separates them from, the average person. What are the reactions that you're getting like in public now, even with this bigger frame that you got? Are you drawing even more people's attention than before?
Yes, yes. And in this area, it's kind of tough, we're deep south, and people don't live the healthiest of lifestyles. And so I have like polar opposite reactions and very little in between. I'm either looked at like I'm a disgusting freak, or, oh my God, you look amazing. Like, hats off to you. So, and there's again, very, very little in between. So, yeah.
That's why I like it a little bit more up here because people won't say bad things to your face. They'll just say it behind your back. There's the passive aggressive Midwestern, but it's I just I
They're very,
I I've never got people who like say that stuff to someone's face, like who just will go up and just try to like ruin someone's day. I've never got that type of person. It's like just don't say anything. It's just
yeah.
that's so much
But
easier.
it happens, and just and I've learned, like, to me, I'm good with me. I work hard to look like this, and so I am good. I am human. I do have feelings, and so sometimes it does kind of smart. But there are people who, but I've noticed that the people who are the most rude and the most bold, they're usually the ones that are not healthy themselves. So I know that they're dealing with their own stuff, and I can't take on what they're dealing with. I just be good with me and hold my head high and press forward. Not my issue.
Absolutely. And with this increased size, have you been at least in your off season where you lifting more weights, where your lifts getting heavier?
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely stronger. And it's felt really good. And just to eat more. I wasn't eating enough before. I noticed that.
What lift are you most proud of?
Do what, sir?
What lift are you most proud of?
Um, my bench press, and I say that because 2016 I tore my shoulder, and so I never bench pressed until this season. Since then, just because it was so painful. And to be able to heal enough to push good weight, I was like, yeah. So I've been excited about that. And what led me to even go to try again was that farmers versus bodybuilders. And I was like, because I let Danny take the bench press because I was like, oh, you know, I'm not going to be able to push much weight. And I saw her just like smashing it, and I was like, okay, let me go ahead and try.
Well, and you mentioned that you tore your shoulder and now it's like the biggest thing in your body. What I have to ask you this because like even my fiance asked me and I've gotten asked by multiple people, what the hell are you doing for shoulder, Samantha? Because this is just ridiculous.
Well, I just keep with my same routine with those. I showed you the one specific like press machine that we do, and just I'm just trying to maintain those at this point. And my shoulders are so broad in general. Like, I'm a big girl, and so just the way I'm built, it makes them look bigger anyway. But I've had people come up to me within the last couple of weeks just because they're striated so much, even just on the regular. They're like, you should just draw a pumpkin, like a jack-o'-lantern on them for Halloween, and just have two pumpkins on your shoulder as shoulders. So yeah.
I mean, hey, that's a great costume idea. You could definitely, work on something like that. But when it comes to just the eating more food, was that something that was it a hard adjustment for you at first? Because sometimes when people are so used to it, or was your body just craving it so much that it wasn't really that much of a problem?
Well, it was more a mental thing, because when I first started eating, I was like, I don't want to get fat, because we have issues like with our bodies because we get down to 2% body fat to step on stage. And then, it is a mind warp to go back to, you know, gaining your weight back, and having a little bit more meat on your bones as far as fat. And it was more mental because I just like saw my body changing. Yet I knew it was a process. Like, I needed to do that. But as far as eating, I love food. Like, that's not a problem. I can consume all the food, and and I'm good.
What's one food that I could present right now on the camera that would drive you absolutely crazy?
I love chips and icing. Like, and it's very specific. like the little kid's birthday cake, that sugary sweet icing with some ruffles with ridges. Salty sweet, baby. So good.
That's a combo I've never even thought of myself, so I might have to look into that one
It's
of
a
these
must
days.
try. It's a must try.
Yeah, that definitely does sound good. And as you're getting closer and closer to the show, are you happy with how you look, or do you still think that there need? Well, again, you're a bodybuilder. You're always going to think that there's going to
Yes.
be
Oh,
improvements, but are you happy with what you've accomplished?
I'm pleased. I'm pleased at where I'm at right now. I'm looking forward to certain areas, especially my legs and butt being a little bit different as far as I lean out. But how my upper body is just maintaining its mass and being able to shred as well. I am very, very pleased, and I'm eager to step on stage. I'm so excited.
I don't even. I'm supposed to train shoulders tonight, and I don't even want to do it now after talking to her, everyone.
Yes,
So,
you
just when I thought I had a little bit of self confidence. No, I'm joking, everyone. But it's always I use it as motivation myself personally. So this is much needed. But just going ahead of this and just the mental journey that we always like to talk about on this podcast and going through everything. When you're down in the dumps, and I asked you this question last time, but it's a question that I'm going to ask every time because it's so important. When you're down in the dumps and you're just thinking to yourself, like, why do I do this? Why do I put myself through this? What is the answer that plays in your head that gets you to keep doing this?
um, for me, again, like I really, even on long hard days, it's my happy place. It's what helps me keep going in life. So I know that as far as competing itself, I know that I have purpose. Like I feel like this is a part of my destiny. And so that's what keeps me going with that, because I know I feel it so deep. I like just a fire in me. Um, the I know at one point I was struggling a bit just because I did let some people, as far as like the public, as far as when their opinions and they're questioning, my gender, or they're questioning why I do what I do, or that I look like a freak. Again, because in this area, there's a lot of that, because they think that, because it's not typical. I don't look normal, and I'm okay with that. But I'd struggled with that a bit, and I was like, you know what, I may not do this anymore. But I couldn't let it go, because it's always something. I wake up thinking about it. I go to sleep thinking about it. As I'm making my decisions throughout the day, it's something that is always on my heart and mind. So I can't let it go. It's in me.
When you have shoulders that pronounced, how are you buying clothes? Are you buying anything that has sleeves, or what? How is that struggle?
It is. I'll tell you, to get scrubs that fit properly is you have, like, I get to
You
get
got to
re-
go sleeveless at some point, honestly, if to really fit in. But
I'm not going to meet our. Fortunately, our team, as far as like with Fresenius, they have like t-shirts and stuff like that they allow us, that has like, keeping it renal, or like our company shirts. I wear those, and then I work at a Baptist facility, so they have like different t-shirts as well. So I'll wear those over like a lab jacket or something.
well, I was to say, back in the day, they had some of those. They were like either dresses or shirts where they had like the cup thing, kind of like on the shoulders, where they made them like look a little bigger. And I was like, that's about your only thing for formal wear, really. But again, that's a nice problem to have. I know a lot of people that would be like, you know what, hey, that's a good problem to have. Everyone, where your
Yeah.
clothing options like that. But I gotta be honest, when you're walking Achilles, how much of a workout is that if he sees something that he likes? Because with the 125-pound
Oh,
dog, good God.
but he's a great listener. I haven't had any problem, just because he's well trained, and he's a good dog. He's amazing. What is our problem is we don't really get a good workout in sometimes, because we get stopped all the time. Like, I've had people like stop traffic, turn around, come back, and it's like, oh my God, he's an amazing dog. Oh, and look at your physique or whatever. So it's really cool. It's really cool.
Have you ever thought, when they say what an amazing dog first, have you ever thought like, well, but what about my physique or anything like that?
No, no, but
What about me? No, I
I
know.
mean, I can't take it away from him. He is very handsome.
I know. I've had people stop for my parents' dog as well whenever I was out walking it. They've said, "Oh my God, what a cute dog," and then the thing just starts going crazy at them. So then they're like, "Oh, maybe it's not so cute." But that's that thing's a psychopath. But yeah, I love it no matter what, regardless. But just yeah,
They'll
it's
That's a BA dog for a BA girl." And I was like, "You know what? You're right."
And have you found any time available for yourself to just relax and just chill out? Because like when I look at your schedule, it seems like to me it's like, what is she, what does she do to even relax? Like, do you have anything that you do?
Right. No, it just, not really. I do make time again at night to decompress, but especially prep, there is no time. Like every minute is accounted for, just like with and as a bodybuilder, every fat, every carb, every everything is accounted for. And so my time is the same way, especially with having to work like I have to do. So yeah, it's not a lot of time, and I embrace it though. I work really well under pressure, and so when things are super stressed, I am my best. So in this time in prep season, this is when I love it the most because you are the most disciplined. You are the most, not to say we're not disciplined outside of that, but it's just a different realm as far as like making sure every single thing is accounted for.
At what point in your prep do you feel you look the best for what you want to look like? Because I know some people like maybe like at 4 weeks out, they might be like, okay, this is the look that I like enjoy myself the most. Some people it might be like a week out, others might be like a few weeks after. Where do you think you fall into that? Where you look in the mirror and you're like, okay, in my opinion, this is what I think I look best.
Usually it's like 2 weeks afterwards because, and I say that because not necessarily about how I look, but how I feel. Like I love the way I look on stage. I love stage look, but yet I love like looking the way I do too and feeling the way I feel 2 weeks after. Because you still look good, but you look more full to me, in some sense. And then you feel better. Like I usually feel better.
Yeah. No, and that's again,
Possible.
once you get that food in you, but have you learned the hard way, or is it something that you've always been good with on not to overeat once you get off that show? Because I've heard so many stories of people where they literally develop like a pregnant belly, overnight, and it's a study that I want to do because it's like how your body can change so much in just one day.
Right. Well, it's kind of like I found a little sweet spot to where I can consume certain foods and be good. And I know my limits when before I didn't. And it just goes with time. As you compete longer and longer, you just kind of get wiser in knowing how to eat, what to eat, what's going to make you feel like this or that. So yeah.
Is there a like a decent bodybuilding scene in the gym that you work out at, or are you like one of the only the few? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and at the one here in Hernando at Edge Fitness that I go, there's a couple of competitors, and I'm the only national competitor at this point. And then over at Cash In Fitness with Samika Cash, um, they're they're all in the place. She's IFBB pro, and she's got several competitors there.
Does that feel better when you know that like you're not the one sticking out when you're in a gym that has more competitors in it?
I love both environments. I really do. There's a different vibe as far as like hype there, just because they're all competitors. But my hometown gym is great to come home and to as well. So
How did you get in touch with Samika? Were you always like following her? Were you recommended by someone?
I was recommended by a friend. His name is Derek, and he was like, it's just been such a beautiful thing, and it tells you like everything has purpose. And we met, Derek and I met at Edge Fitness, and because he's a trainer at both facilities as well. And so he was like, you know what, this is my friend, and I want you to meet her. And just to be able to be connected to her now is changed my life. It really has. So I appreciate that.
It's always amazing the connections that we can make in life and how you just think I've always found it too with like some of the guests that I have that I don't think it might be a good episode, but I do it anyway. They sometimes turn out to be the ones that like have the connections that I'm like, oh wow, I'm really glad I did that. So
Right.
it's just always the little simple things that you don't understand. But just going into these last few weeks, is there anything that you do ahead of time to prepare yourself for like the the feeling of death that you're gonna feel in about 2, 3 weeks?
Um, no, just making sure that you embrace it. To me, again, I I love this part. Most people hate it. I hear people say that they hate it. To me, although I hate running codes, I'm my best as far as thinking, being on point. And so to say that, you know, I have a certain gift when things are hectic and chaotic, I have a sense of calm, and I like almost feels like home to me. So, and that's kind of like the prep feels for me. If it just feels like, oh, this is what I do, and I just try and embrace it. I love it. I really do.
At what point in your prep do you start to tell your coworkers like, hey, maybe like if there's complex things for me to think about, maybe don't invite me into it?
Well, unfortunately, I have to be very smart throughout the whole thing. But I do tell them I work slower, and it's usually like 2 weeks out. I'll tell them, I'm going to be working slower, but I'm super fast anyway. My boss tells me to slow down just because I'm efficient, I'm good. Um, but usually 2 weeks out, I'm like, I'm going to slow things down, and it's to be purposeful because I do have people's lives in my hand, and I take my job very serious every single time I clock in, because I I love my patients, and their well-being is my well-being. Like, I want to make sure they're well, and if anything happened to them just because I'm in prep, no, I could not live with that at
do you
all.
do you ever take motivation from seeing that like, hey, you're dealing with people that might not have the best health and you're someone who, is a very healthy person and very in shape? Do you ever use as extra added motivation just dealing with those type of people and just realizing that like, hey, I am blessed in ways that some other people aren't?
Well, I think it's a way that I relate to them, as far as because they'll ask me, about why I may look the way I do, and my lifestyle outside of work, and to be able to pour into them as far as like my lifestyle, how I choose the foods I choose, which they can't always because they're acute renal failure, chronic renal failure, so they have limits on fluids and specific foods. So it's a door opener for me to be able to pour into them and to just motivate them and inspire them to choose differently and to live differently. And but it always starts from here. Like for them to say, you know what, I'm sick as hell right now, but I'm here for a reason, and I can choose to make good choices and to feel better. So
What's your favorite part about your job and what's your least favorite part about your job without saying anything that'll get you fired or anything like that for your least favorite?
my least favorite is pulling needles. We
Ooh.
we have 15 gauge needles and that we pull. I hate holding pressure. It drives me nuts because to me, I'm just standing there. It just the point of just standing there drives me nuts because number one, I'm ADHD as hell, okay, and just like I'm antsy, but it forces me to stand still, so I don't like that. But I love sticking people. I'm really good. So yeah, I love that part, and just being able to be there with them, and and just talk to them and just try to motivate them. And some of them are really sick. They're intubated, sedated, and they don't know I'm there. But I do, you know, yeah. So
And what's your favorite part about your job?
um, uh, just I do like sticking, but no, I'm just playing. Um, just able to relate to them, just to build a rapport with my patients. I stinking love it. I know it sounds corny as hell, but like to see their faces light up when they come through the door when they see it's me, and they're like, oh, and then we just I just love their patients. I really do, and I think that's one of the things that makes me a good nurse.
When it comes to giving needles to people, is there a certain type of person or a certain thing that makes them easier? Is it like the really veiny people, or is there anything else that makes a person like easier to inject?
Well, to me, give me a challenge. I'm good with that. Come on. Like the easy ones, even the mediocre nurses can do that. Shh. Bring me someone hard.
What's the hardest one you've ever had to do?
Some that are just now created, so like their fistulas that are just created, those are tougher to stick, and just because they're baby new and they're not as large as the ones that's been there, 5 years or something. So those are tough. But I like doing it.
Because for me, needles are fine. I just don't ever want to look at like what's happening. So like I'm the one where I'm turned away, but I won't wince or anything like that. But were you the kid growing up then that where you had to look at it then and then see what was happening?
And I am still that person. I have two of my girls that don't want to look, and I have one of my girls that's just like, I gotta watch this, and she's like me. She's gonna be watching like a hawk.
I'm just one of those people where if I ever get hurt, it's like as if I don't look at it, it's not as bad. So I'm one of those people where it's just like, just put a shoe on if it's my foot or anything like that, then I don't have to look at it and see what it is. But no, that's just me. Just because I'm fine with blood, but I just think just when you just see it all come out and just go in a needle, you're just like, oh, jeez. But no, that's in it's. I want people like that to be nurses. I don't want someone like me then who's just like, I'm not even gonna look and just like. So hopefully I get it right. So again, I've always thought, and I make the joke to my friend because she's a surgeon, you have to be a borderline psychopath to be to enjoy cutting up people. But thank God there are people like that. But no, I make my jokes, everyone. But just as you're also seeing all the changes that you've made in your body and just realizing that you've made a very big difference as opposed to maybe other years where you might have not made this big of a change. How has that affected your mental health? Just knowing that hey, I actually did I made a lot of progress this year as opposed to maybe a few years ago or more than that where you might not have made this much progress.
Yeah, I wish I would have made this much progress each year. Like that's what it makes me feel like. But
You
you
wouldn't even
know,
be able to fit in the damn camera if you made this much progress every year. Jesus.
you just keep like people asked me years ago, and they'll be like, if they would have said I would be as big as I am now, I would have been like, no, I don't want to be that big. But I love this. Like, I love the way I look. I love being able to grow even more if I choose. That's one thing about bodybuilding, one of the many things that I love. Like, it's your world. We have bikini, we have wellness, we have figure, we have physique, we have bodybuilding. So, just to continue to grow if you want, or you critique yourself and you keep fine tuning where you're at, and I love that.
How long into your journey did you start to change your mind of oh, I wouldn't be opposed to being bigger and bigger
This year.
this year? Yeah.
Yeah.
What was there like a moment or was there a time where you're just like, hey, you know what? That wouldn't be too bad.
I think what led me to be a little bit more open minded is knowing that last season, time after time, every single competition, the judges are like, "You're like borderline physique," like you're pushing the limits of figure being too big as far as NPC. To be you know figure only, and so last competition of last season, I was like, you know what? Let's try this. Let's try to get bigger, a little bigger, and see where this goes. And I'm excited.
How much more do you enjoy the physique posing than the figure posing?
No, I mean, I'm gonna compete at both.
Okay.
This competition, I'm gonna be figure because I love it. Like I feel so comfortable and like I love figure still. But physique, I've I've embraced it and I freaking love it too. Like I'm excited and to be able to be without heels, like what? I could
How different does that feel doing posing routines with heels and without heels?
night and day for sure, as you can imagine, but it, and our style is so much different. And I like that it's still like structured, yet you can put your own flair on it there. I, it's great. It's great.
What's your favorite physique pose and least favorite physique pose?
So my favorites from well, double by. Um, and I would say my least favorite is back double by, just because my hand blue tie is not what I wanted. Just because I'm that person. Like, and we all are in our world. Like, we're like, this is what I need better. And my hand glue tie is, ugh.
Which is almost funny to me because like I saw that video where you're doing a back double bi, and just on your back alone, I was like, and then I realized like, oh yeah, because how hard is that to explain to people that it's more than just like a certain area? So like if you're doing a front double, it's more than your biceps, it's more than your back for a back double. Because a lot of people, if they were to see your back double, they'd be like, oh my god, that's her best pose. But then when you say, oh, it's your least favorite, people are just like, what's going on here?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because it's the bottom part. It's not just the top part. You know, it's the whole picture.
I wish they would have like a subcategory in the divisions where they would do like best body parts or something like that, where they would at least do it. So then people would just
Right?
like someone like you get like a best back award or a best arm award or best leg award or something like that, where they do other things for other competitions. That's just one of my, many ideas. But as you've done this sport more and more and just seeing how the sport changes, what's that been like to witness that as a competitor? Just seeing how the looks have changed too and how everyone's gotten, bigger and harder as the years have gone on.
Yeah. Um, I'm eager to see how things are going to continue to grow. But I I really enjoy being able to know that it's okay for us to be us as female competitors to be hard and to be able to show our mass and be still be feminine and and accepted like that. So I like that about bodybuilding for sure.
Do you feel that, I mean, even though like you said you're very comfortable with yourself, but do you feel that sometimes you sort of have to really up the femininity to make people think that like, oh my god, she's a super feminine person? Because I know some people, like especially some guys who when they get like when they're really they kind of like I'm gonna be honest, I don't have that deep of a voice, so sometimes I gotta butch it up a little bit then if I'm really talking to it. But do you ever feel that like it's like, oh, I might have to like up it just a little bit just so that people would be like, oh yeah, she's really feminine?
No, no, to me, I'm comfortable with me and I just try to be myself. I try to be authentic and if you like me and accept me, then you're supposed to be around me. And if not, then okay, press forward. We're good. It really like I don't want to ever step outside of what I am, I want to be true to myself.
Hey, I wish I had that in me, but oh, geez, it's just for me. It's just times when just like I kind of have to act it like if you ever like if there's not that there's ever been any like dangerous situations, but there ever was one, then that's the time when I kind of have to buff up your chest a little bit and just you know peacock a little bit for other people. But no, it's just that's something that I'm so happy to hear that you have that because some people it takes them their entire lifetimes to find that, and I'm glad that you have that. So it's
I will say on the other side of that spectrum, I do feel there's times where, like, if especially around here, and people are being negative and like mean and bold to my face, like I do, I'm like you, like I'll step up, I'll bold up, And to me, it's like I'm almost having to be a man, but
you hit them with that most muscular, then they'll run away.
and no, the thing is, it's usually grown ass men that
Oh yeah.
stuff. I'm like, you know what? Go ahead, go ahead. I'll stand there, but I'm like that. I have like an unhealthy lack of fear, so I'll fight grown ass men. I don't care. We're both gonna look. I'm gonna go until the cops show up.
Hey, that's the deep south for you. No, I'm just kidding. No, but that's hey, that's a good attitude to have because I know some.
Y'all.
Were you like that before you had this size, or
Yeah.
was okay? Yeah.
Mhm. I have always been that person. Little girl. I don't care. I'll fight the little boys on the. Always been that girl.
Why are you a nurse? Just be a cop or something. Good God.
Yeah, I was military police. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense now. Geez, God, they'd have you as the poster child then for a military, especially the way you look right now. They'd be like having you on magazines for like, this is what a military policeman looks like. So, wow. So wait, exactly. So what are the duties of a military policeman? Because I see that in like, especially in movies, you only see them, they're like guarding places, but are there any other duties that you did as a military policeman that like most people wouldn't know or?
Well, for me, I was in the Air Force, security force is what we were called then. And so we would either get posted for um, law enforcement duties or security. Like we wouldn't know until we got on post, and then we would go to the armory to go get our appropriate weapon or whatever. But we did both. We were either law enforcement or security. And again, we wouldn't know until we got on post, unless we were deployed, and then, that's a different life. So yeah.
So you were a nerd basically in the Air Force. And I can only say that because my grandpa was in the Air Force and he always told me, he's like, only the smart guys get into the Air Force. And I was like, yeah, the nerds, grandpa. So I always give him that crap though. But I worked with a lot of Marines, or I still do, and they always I hear military jokes every single day. I gave one of them crayons for his birthday one time, and he was laughing his ass off. So they still do that all the time there. And then I talk to a lot of veterans on my other podcast too, which I really appreciate. And thank you for your service, first of all, if I haven't said that to you before. And yeah, so, and when it comes to finding a coach, this is a question that I ask a lot of guests now, is what to you makes a coach a good coach? Because it differs from person to person and people might want more out of a coach, but in your specific situation, what to you about a coach do you look at and say like, okay, this is someone that I'd want to work with?
As I would say for me, like when I was meeting with Samika, it was important to me to be able to connect with her, like on a personality level, and that's one thing that we like. Our personalities are a lot alike. We're very driven, we're very no nonsense, but we're very soft in a sense too, like caring, kind. And that's important because I need someone that's going to be able to relate to me because and be honest with me and look out for me as well and to be knowledgeable. So all those things, like there's so much that goes into it. And to know that like she's living the life, like she's IFBB pros and she's very successful. So to be able to pour into me as a female athlete and to have be living the life actively, it's was a huge pro as far as in my eyes to know that she's living the life. And then you throw in, oh, your personality, my personality, and it was just a great fit. So Team Sam and Sam, we're about to rock it out.
Absolutely. And when we do talk to you in a year from today, where would you like to be at in your bodybuilding? Where would you like to be at just in your overall life? What are some goals that you'd like to have achieved by then?
Well, I'm going to get my IFBB Pro card in November, and then I'll make my debut sometime next year, and that's the goal, and be full-time athlete by 2026, and just do my nursing part-time.
That's a good plan to have. And when you are at the shows, what is your favorite part about the shows and what is your least favorite part about the shows?
Oh wow.
I threw you a curveball at the end. I had to throw a tiny one.
Saw that. Oh my gosh. So my favorite thing is just like the camaraderie, like to be able to be surrounded by the athletes and make connections and things like that. I love that aspect. My least favorite is the politics that go into it, and you know that world. So
More
yeah,
than I would ever like to know, yes.
yeah, and so that's what I don't like about it. But it's just like anything else. I'm focusing on my connections and my rapport with people and connecting with people, and the rest of stuff I don't get involved with. That's not my circus.
And then when I ask you again next year, what area that you wish to be proud of the most, is it going to be your glutes and hams again that you're going to say?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right, it's on the record right now. So next time she's on, we'll have to see if it comes up. And I mean, again, if she makes progress like she did this year, good God, I don't even.
Oh,
It's going
I
to be an interesting podcast, I'll tell you that. But again, everyone,
wait
Samantha.
for
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. And Samantha, I mean, thank you so much for coming back on and sharing with us. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to you getting your pro card and seeing where you go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. This is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot. I'm leaving a link to her Instagram down below. Buyer beware. You will get off that couch and stop eating all those Twinkies. But again, everyone, have a great day.